Well, hi guys and girls, Emma again. Welcome back to the spare room. I got halfway through this project and thought, well, I got the gilts and thought, well, probably I should be videoing this. So here we go. What I've done this morning is dressed this old centre that I had. A friend made me this when I first got the lathe. On a little C1 mini lathe, and did a pretty good job of it. The taper's pretty close, but it's not quite deep enough, so it doesn't self-eject, and it was soft. So I've used it for 2 years, and it was getting to that point that it really wasn't much good. So what I've done this morning is set it up and dressed it up, and case hardened it and gave it a polish, and probably it'll do a stretch more. But what I'd like to do while it's good is to make a new one. So what I found is a bit of D2 tool steel, which is really nice stuff. I've got a bit, it's only about that long. It's long enough to do it. And I've set it up in the chuck, and I've set the saddle around to match a couple of tapers that I made earlier. This one I made back in, it's out of the same stuff, but I made this back 2 years ago for this drill chuck. And the idea was that I was going to spend some time and make some more, but it never ever happened. So here we go. So I've set a taper up between centres and set this saddle around to match it, and I machined it down till it's the same diameter, we hope. Very difficult thing to get right, and you don't have to take very much off it to get it undersized. And it's up against the shoulder, so it doesn't want to be undersized, and it wants to be long enough so that it ejects itself. So I've given that a pretty good polish and a clean up, and I think it's pretty good. What I'm going to do is take that one out and take this one out. And that's pretty jolly good there, except it doesn't quite pop out. Yeah, it does. That's close enough. It could probably be 2 thou smaller, and that's out. So pretty happy with that, I think. Next job is to machine a tip on it, a point on it, and I've given this some thought over the last 2 years, several times. What I'm going to do is get a piece of steel sock and drill it out, and set this over the opposite way with the same taper, and machine a bore in it until that fits in it, and machine it and put a point on it. I think is probably the next job. I think this needs hardening and tempering. It would be better if it was. I think it'd be plenty good enough if it wasn't for a while, but at this point that's what I'm going to do. So we'll get the surface finished nice, and we might even harden it and temper it. So let's have a look. Unscrew that little chuck and clean this taper out. Put a centre in there. This one in here. So next job is to set this compound up. You give it a spin back this way and set it up the other direction. The issue with making a taper is that you've got to have this on exactly the same angle across the center as the tool. So this needs to be on center height. If you set it up here, you're going to get an error. So now this is the low side down here. Oh, it was the high side still. So it's pushed in a little bit further on this end than it should be, and it's out a little bit further on this end. So if we give this a tap here, it's going to move it the wrong way. But that's on 0 there. And down there it's on 2 thou, so that's not far out. If we move it another one, that's pretty close. It's over that taper. Let's just quantify this a bit. Over that taper, it's about 1/2 thousandths of an inch over perhaps an inch. So someone could do the maths and sort of tell me how many degrees I'm out there. Perfect is great. I don't believe that this job needs to be any closer than that. So I'm going to say that's going to, I use the term good enough, but it's, yeah. A friend of mine says dead nuts, and it's, another guy on YouTube says it's close enough for the girls I go out with, and we won't go there, but I think I've got better taste. And I think that's pretty good. I really do. So now this is set up. Next job is to put the chuck back on. Find a bit of stock to set up. Anything will do here. A bit of aluminium would do. But we'll see what I can find. And drill him and bore him. So there we go. I've got a bush made to match the taper pretty nice, and I've got this knocked in there nice and solid. It's right through, so I can just knock it out again from the other end when I'm done. But next job here is to put a 60-degree taper on here. We'll slacken this off and drop this round here to where it says 30. I'm just going to line this up here. And that tool's pretty blunt, so I'm going to fix that. So there we go. This shoulder here wants to be a little bit shorter. I'm going to straighten this up again. And take a little bit off there. It doesn't want to be right down to the taper, but it wants a little bit off. And we'll take it out and have a bit of a look. So in the end, that's what I've got. It's the right taper, and this is 60 degrees here. Probably it wants hardening and letting down a bit and polishing, and that way this would all be nice and blue and like a dark black colour, and we could polish this and this. A little bit of messing around to do it. Probably the best way is to make a cone to go in here at 60 degrees and push this in against it. Saved that pretty well for a while. And I think probably we're going to need some ventilation. I've got the windows and the doors open. And we've got a fan going there in the background, so let's just let that cool down so we can fish it out. And I reckon that oil's probably pretty hot too. And we'll have a look and see how hard it is. This is still quite hot to touch. It's a nice even black colour, I really like that. Haven't got a set of hardness testing files. But that file's not even putting a shiny patch on there. We'll turn the light on so we can see again. Pretty pleased with that. Now let that cool down and give it a polish up and see how it looks. So that's our final polish there. I've left a little shoulder on the end there so that I could chuck it. That's not why I left it there, but looking back at it, it seemed like a really good idea and something I'd do in the future because it made things a lot easier. Anyway, that's what I got. Certainly a whole lot better than what I had. As for hard, we'll see how it stands up, but it should, with a bit of care and the sort of work it does, it should last pretty well. and we'll keep the block just to dress him up if we need to. So that's what I've done today. Just a quick video. There's not a lot of detail here, but it gives you some idea what the process was to do it. Thanks for watching. Be kind to each other, and don't forget to like and subscribe, all that sort of stuff. And more soon.